Thank you, Dr. Rajesh Sahai, for giving me this opportunity and Chairman. My topic is pre-op care, OT protocol, and documentation part. This is a very huge topic, but I would like to cover in a stipulated time. As you know, that endophthalmitis is a devastating condition, but tackling it is a big challenge because of there are many factors involved. There is no standard protocol till now, and there is a individual variation and custom by the different surgeon. So it is very difficult to pinpoint a certain point condition. But there are measures to prevent it. How we do it? By reducing the organism on the ocular surface prior to the surgery, by reducing exposure to the organism during the surgical procedure, or eradicating the bacteria that enters the eye after the cataract surgery. How do we do that? By identification of the high risk patient, like old debilitated patient, immunocompromised patient, complicated cataract cases may harbor some immunocompromised condition. Meticulous lid hygiene is important, and you have to pay definitely heed over the lid hygiene. That is often a missed part. Control of systemic disease like hypertension and diabetes should be there. Like blood pressure should not be more than 165 to 95, and as per the AIOS guidelines of endophthalmitis prevention, fasting blood sugar should not be more than 150 milligram, or random or postpone should not be 200 milligram. And pre-operative topical antibiotic is not mandatory, but everybody use it. And if you want to use it, just use a broad spectrum antibiotics. But providine iodine is must for the prevention in the for painting and all, and the contact time should not be less than 3 minutes. And there should not be any contact procedure on the day of the surgery, like biometry or tonometry. If you are going to do that, then you postpone surgery better for the another day. And medical fitness from qualified physician is the must, as it may help you if something happens wrong to a patient goes to the court and all. We are paying very little attention to the hygiene of the patient. On the day of the surgery, you have to ask the patient to pull bath, washing their head and face with soap and water thoroughly. Patient to wear clean washes cloth, OT dress with cap and gown. Patient should not wear its own clothes. Food should be covered with disposable bag. And as I previously said, apply providine iodine 5% on the skin or 10% on the skin. And in the cul-de-sac, you can use 5% betadine, providine iodine, and leave dried for 3 minutes before shifting to OT table and to be painted again on the table. Disposable adhesive drapes is must to isolate the lid, and tucking the latches within the drapes is very important because the lid lashes is a very resource of contamination. And there is no need to cut the eyelashes. And when you use the speculum, it should be screw type that pulls the lid separate wide open, and it reduces the by chance lashes coming to the operating field. While speculum gives poor exposure, so it should not be used except the inpatient or pediatric cases. So far as OT protocol is concerned, for the general, written informed consent is mandatory. It should be in a patient language explaining the risk involved and benefit expected, and it to be signed by the patient, his or relative, or by the interpreter if the patient is not understanding your language. Consent paper should be handed over to the patient 1 to 2 days before the surgery so as to read it fully, read it and understand fully. And it should be clearly mentioned that the risk and benefit of the surgery and expected visual outcome, and of normal saturation, you can continue the surgery. And also monitoring the patient, the general condition with this machine. If you are having a high risk case like 3 or more comorbidity, an astrologist or physician should be there into the OT, and in the OT, and IV lines should be maintained before the starting of the surgery. Usually, I don't uh, maintain the IV line routinely. There should be a crash cart in the OT containing all the mandatory emergency drugs, and there should be provision to transfer the patient to the hospital if there any case emergency occurs if you are not dealing with the emergency in your hospital. For the doctors and staff, everybody is well versed with this. Anybody entering the OT must change their cloth in the changing room. Clothes should be clean and dry. Anyone with any of his significance should not be allowed to enter in the OT. There should be a separate sleeper for OT and the bathroom. No street cloth inside anyone, including doctor and staff. Hand scrubbing is done with Vitadine, soap solution, chlorhexidine scrub for at least 3 minutes. If you are using liquid soap, then it should be washed with 5 minutes, and there is no bar soap allowed. And for scrubbing, purified water should be used like RO or UV sterilize. OT staff once started surgery should not get close towards the OT towel or towards head of the patient to minimize the air exchange. And the sterilized fresh new pair of gloves for every case should be used, and use sterilium between the cases. In continuation with the doctor staff, nothing much to tell about it. Preferably use a sterilized disposable gown with water resistant property should be used, because if you use sterilized linen, it may get soiled and may contaminate. Mask and OT cap should be worn properly, and scrubbed hand should be positioned in front of the above the waist, in front of the chest, and surgeon, including all the staff, should not come out of the OT with the rash on. If came out, must change and re-scrub. Handling the microscope is important, and it should be handled with the cover supplied with the microscope by the company people. Intraocular fluid is an important consideration because it is the fluid which goes into the eye, and it should be one for one rule, one bottle of fluid for one patient, and preferably pouch or plastic bottles should be used. And in case of glass bottle, always do vacuum test. Look for bubble upon putting the drip set. If it is not there, means there is some leak into the bottle. Before use, inspect the bottle against a light physically to look for clarity and any growth. BSS or ringer lactate are equally effective in doing the surgery. There is no need to re-sterilize and seal volatile. Wound integrity is very important on the table, as highlighted by the previous speakers. Always ensure the wound is non-leaky. When in doubt, suture to be applied. Keep the IOP on a high side at the end of the surgery to prevent sucking back of the conjunctival fluid into the eye. And by making the tighter intraocular pressure, high intraocular pressure, you can cross-check your sealing of the wound. Anything which goes inside the eye should be changed in each cases. Intracameral antibiotic is preferable. No subconjunctival antibiotic, no betadine drops at the end of surgery. I have seen many surgeons putting at the end of the surgery, and try to finish surgery within 15 minutes before. Beyond that, local disinfecting, the effect is many. So far as OT layout concerned, it should be divided into 4 zones: outer zone, mid zone, aseptic zone, and disposable zone. Outer zone should be protective zone, reception. Mid zone, clean zone, common area, changing room, transfer zone. Aseptic zone comes all scrubbing, gowning, gloving, autoclave zone. And disposable for disposing all the things. Isolation of the OT is important, and it is the if you are using new OT, 3 OT washing followed by fumigation, and 3 consecutive negative cultures to there. Fumigation is not required if there is a positive pressure ventilation in the OT. Running OT single, if you are running daily OT, then single fumigation, infective mopping, and mopping weekly is enough. Use of fogger machine is preferable. Formalin or newer ingredients can be used like Bacillon and all. Monitoring of sterilization is important by pushing 3 indicators: the one outside the wrap, second inside the wrap, and third on inside the tray. Logbook to be maintained. Now, important consideration: AC should be cleaned every day, in monthly, and there is no scope for window AC. Servicing, cleaning every month, documented. It should be documented. Floor surface, microscope, sink, drain must be cleaned daily. OT size is important, 160 square feet per person, but it is, but according to NABH, 400 square feet as NABH. In practical, you can reduce the proportionate to the number of the people according to your OT, isolation by autoclave and all. Documentation part should be in the way that it justify the cataract surgery or any other surgery, taking into consideration of chief complaint patient. Chief complaint confess symptoms like blood vision, visual distortion, reduced contrast sensitivity, complaint of glare associated with functional impairment. Visual acuity is required because patient only comes for the vision. And cataract documents should provide existence of cataract on the paper. And other reason, if you are removing the cataract, then it should be mentioned there, like lens-induced glaucoma or retinal diseases. And you always put a prognosis, how patient going to improve after the surgery. Informed consent is must. Investigation pertaining to need to the physician and clearance should be there, and it should be duly stamped signature by the witness. This ends my presentation. Thanks for your patient hearing. Long live AIOS.